Certainly, there have been rumblings about this for the past few weeks. I know Diana Rossini actually came up a few weeks ago talking about a third-round pick. And so my talking...
She was carrying somebody's water.
Yeah, my conversations at the Combine, certainly the Cowboys were openly looking, I think I talked to you guys the other day about looking for a quarterback. They were certainly were not going to spend a first or second day pick on a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And they certainly were not going to trade a first or second day pick for a quarterback because they have too many needs.
Yeah.
But certainly the talk started ramping up at the owners' meeting for sure. And they get Joe Milton. And for what you get for him, for what he is, for what you're looking for to control for the next 3 years, I think a total of $3 million.
Yeah.
$3.5 million. The Cowboys were interested in bringing back Cooper Rush, but his price tag was too high. I think he got like $4 million annually from the Ravens, and I don't think they wanted to go more than $3 million. You know, whether you think you should be nitpicking $1 million for a guy,
cushions.
For a guy who wins games that can win games for you from a quarterback. You know, when your quarterback has been injured, we can nitpick that all you want, but the fact is they openly talked about needing and wanting to get a backup quarterback for Dak Prescott, whether it's in draft, whether in free agency. Certainly they weren't going to use a first or second day pick, so it's going to have to be a third day type of pick, and that's what you got in this trade. And again, it's a guy, you look at his profile going back to Tennessee, he's mobile, he got a strong arm. I think he threw the ball 80. You see,
he has a gigantic
arm. He threw about 85 yards. So you look at his last game, he played the season finale for the Patriots last year. Compare his last game to Trey Lance's last game.
He threw a touchdown. He didn't throw a pick. He's
78% completion.
I think it was 22 or 29. I mean, he looked good. So here's a guy that has good upside. It's a solid decision. And you know, we can stop the Quinn Ewers talk. Yeah. We can stop all the talk of these quarterbacks in the draft who are younger and are not going to really help you win this year if you need them to get on the field and win. This guy can come in and play.
Before you cook us, because I feel like you're going to disagree with us, they moved back 46 spots to do this because they also got a 7th-round pick from the Patriots to do this. This is a guy that, you know, when you look at his athletic profile, the most comparable athletic profile to him is Josh Allen in terms of mock draft.
I was hoping it would be Trey Lance.
But it's also Paxton Lynch is on there. You know what I mean? And so there's also Justin Herbert, but there's also other guys that didn't work out. Joe Milton might not ever work out for the Cowboys, but his athletic profile, his potential, his howitzer of an arm, his ability to come in and actually be exciting during the preseason, frankly, like these are things I think are worth moving 46 spots back in the draft.
Yeah.
And I think the projectability, I don't know if you were going to get someone as raw and as talented on day 3 of the draft that you can get as Joe Milton.
And it doesn't stop you from drafting a quarterback.
No.
It doesn't stop you from drafting a quarterback next year. But for this year's team, it's an option worth investigating.
I just want to see if Joe's right. I want to see if you're going to tear anybody up.
What do you want him to do? What do you don't like the deal?
I'm fine with it. I think they won.
Oh,
they won.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're on agreement.
They won?
Yeah, it was a solid move.
What is it?
They won the contractual.
The trade part of it, yeah.
Patriots fans aren't happy, by the way.
So you want me to tear them up? You don't want to?
What's the
Because I'm always the negative one.
What is there to be negative about this move?
He's not a complete player. Like if we did the blind, no, you got it.
He's not a what? A complete player?
You got it.
Who are you gonna get complete?
I didn't say complete.
Oh,
you said good?
I was lying. I actually don't have it. I'm on their side, kind of.
Okay.
Only because I think if your expectation of after trading for Joe Milton is like Captain Thunder style, like that's right, Dak, you're in trouble now. Like obviously that's silly. Like they traded for their backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think all this announces to me is sure, maybe they could still draft a quarterback in this draft. But I think what this announces to me is that the Cowboys looked at this year's draft outside of the top quarterbacks and said, hey, do we think that anybody that we would pick on day 3 is better than what we could get by flipping a 5th-round comp pick? And if the answer is no, I think that was their process, is they went, we think Joe Milton is a better player than whatever we could do on the 3rd day, and we are planning to pick a guy on the 3rd day.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we think that we can get better than that by just flipping this pick to a team with a new coaching staff, the coaching staff is kind of out on this guy, sure. Yeah. And so I don't think it's big and exciting, but I do think that like Cowboy fans care about everything. And so it's worth talking about. And I think it's way different than the Trey Lance thing, because the Trey Lance trade, 1, you gave up a better pick. And 2, you gave up a better pick for the guy that wasn't even your backup quarterback. Like that, I think, was very much a Jerry Jones style, like, you see what I've done, Dak? Watch your back, buddy. And this is very much we don't have a backup quarterback.
Right.
And we think for very cheap and for a pick that we would probably use on a quarterback, this guy's better than who we would pick. Right. And so it's just like okay, cool. That's how they decided to do their backup quarterback. Yeah. Instead of using a day 3 pick, they flipped one.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of talk about Quinn Ewers and your boy in Oregon. I keep forgetting his name.
Dylan Gabriel. Put some respect on his name.
But, don't you David him?
Not disrespecting.
Don't you David Mulligan him?
I can't believe you Jerry Mulligan.
I'm sorry. But there was a lot of talk about them. But the Cowboys, it is just talking to sources at the combine. They have too many needs to spend the first or second day pick on a quarterback. They have too many other positions. They're trying, whether you believe it or not, trying to win now, trying to do what they need to do now for this football team. They can't afford to use a second or third round pick on a quarterback. They have other positions that are on fire right now that they need to shore up.
Yeah.
And so that was never going to happen.
I'll say this too. I mean, the Joe Milton situation is the same experiment/challenge that you just had with Trey Lance and it didn't work out. So I think that's one caveat for all of this is like, I think Joe Milton.
But at least Milton is needed.
Yeah,
Lance wasn't needed. You already had a backup
for
quarterback.
Sure. But in terms of the high end ability of like, hey, maybe one day if Dak Prescott, becomes injury prone, can this guy develop into someone that we can move into the future with? I still think the possibility is there, but it's a challenge. You're going to have to develop Joe Milton ideally without him playing, which is something that you did not work out well with Dak Prescott.
I don't think you do, though.
With coaches who don't have a history of developing quarterbacks. I mean, you can say what you want about Mike McCarthy. He has a history of developing quarterbacks.
For sure.
But these guys don't have a history of developing young quarterbacks into big-time starters.
I guess I think that's overstating the trade. Like, I don't think there's a pipe dream where it's and what if this guy's awesome? But they didn't trade for him to be awesome. To develop
they didn't draft Dak Prescott though for him to eventually be the starter.
And, it developed. And in
this
case,
just was thrown out there.
They traded for
and it worked out.
They traded for this guy to be the backup quarterback. Like it's not going to be, and we got to find snaps for him and see what he can become. Like, he's your backup quarterback for this year and next year.
But that's still the ideal ceiling hope. Whenever you don't bring in a guy where you're like, oh, he sucks.
No, he can. You just brought in. We don't have one.
Yeah, but as Shadi was talking about competition, we want competition. But Dak's our starting quarterback. That was his word.
No,
we want competition in their positions, but Dak's our starting quarterback.
We all silly like the mayor.